Buenos días a todos. Muchísimas gracias por estar hoy aquí en este acto que para la universidad es muy importante. ¿Se oye? Ahora se oye. Bueno, por estar en este acto muy importante, como es el encuentro con Paolo Nespoli. Yo quiero agradecer a todos los centros que se encuentran hoy con nosotros, a aquellos que nos están siguiendo también por vídeo de distintos lugares, de distintas ciudades de la península. En concreto tenemos confirmado de Barcelona y otras ciudades que están siguiendo en directo lo que se va a realizar hoy aquí. Por supuesto, quisiera agradecer a los responsables de IDeTIC, a través de Iván, Javier y Mar, un poco que son las cabezas visibles de que este encuentro se haya podido celebrar. Que lo que hemos visto en órbita lo podamos ver en la Tierra y podamos tener en directo a este representante, a este astronauta, que además ya lo conocerán como una persona encantadora, que nos dará su visión y escuchará, intentará contestar sus preguntas, no sean muy malos con él. Y bueno, pues simplemente agradecerles a todos, a los patrocinadores que han hecho posible que este encuentro sea viable, porque bueno, pues las circunstancias son las que son, y que lo aprovechen, que lo disfruten, y que a lo mejor dentro de unos años podemos ver a algunos de los que están hoy aquí, pues haciendo una comunicación directo desde el espacio, y que se acuerden de la Universidad de Las Palmas cuando estén en el espacio. Muchísimas gracias a todos, yo los dejo con Iván.
Venga, gracias. Perfecto. Gracias, vicerrector. Bueno, soy Iván Pérez, el subdirector del IDeTIC, uno de los irresponsables de montar todo esto. Agradecer a los colegios, agradecer a los profesores que han estado muy interesados y han interactuado con nosotros, agradecerles el trabajo que han hecho con nosotros, esperemos que lo pasen bien, ¿de acuerdo? Hoy han tenido oportunidad los chicos de la ISS Contact que vinieron el año pasado de hablar con Paolo, esperemos que vosotros también puedan disfrutar de ello. Bien, el IDeTIC es un instituto universitario de investigación y se dedica a eso, a investigar en temas de comunicaciones, ¿vale? Pero también hacemos estas cosas. Pero para que vean un poquito qué es lo que hacemos en el IDeTIC, tenemos un vídeo preparado muy cortito de 2 minutos para que sepan lo que hacemos. Bien, espero que les haya gustado. Todo eso que has visto ahí es verdad, no es nada ficticio, es lo que hacemos, un poco de película, pero es lo que hacemos, ¿vale? Así que todos los que quieran venir a IDeTIC, espero que sean todos ustedes, estudiar mucho, apuntarse a la Universidad de Las Palmas y después cuando saquen la carrera al IDeTIC, ¿vale? Bueno, vamos a entrar en por qué estamos aquí. Hace mucho tiempo, en el 2009, pasó una cosa como esta y fue el inicio de toda esta película. Yo llegué como un día normal a mi trabajo, me senté y me puse a trabajar. Y otra gente que aparecen ahora estaban en el laboratorio.
¿Puede?
¿Qué tal?
Buenas.
¿Se puede?
¿Qué tal, Iván?
¿Algún problema?
Bueno,
Todo bien.
más o menos.
¿Todo bien?
Todo bien.
Sí.
¿Qué te vamos a contar que no sepas?
Vale. Bueno, pues sentarse.
Vale.
Venga.
Hemos tenido una idea
Bueno, una idea.
y te queríamos contar a ver
¿Buena
si...
o mala?
Bueno,
Vamos a ver qué te parece.
A ver
Venga,
qué tal.
adelante.
¿Te suenan estos contactos que se hacen desde centros educativos con la ISS, donde varios chicos hacen preguntas a un astronauta a bordo de la estación?
Sí.
¿Sí?
He tenido la oportunidad de verlo este verano en el Museo de Londres, una peli con los niños hablando con la Estación Espacial Internacional y eso. No estarán...
Pues, ¿y qué te parecería organizar uno desde Canarias, por ejemplo? Invitando a gente de toda Canarias a participar en un concurso de preguntas.
Seguro que será fácil, ¿no?
Bueno, más o menos.
Bueno.
Por lo que hemos visto nunca se ha hecho en Canarias, así que hemos pensado que ¿por qué no intentarlo?
Bueno, pues nada, esta será nuestra misión secreta, con 2 S, misión secreta. Así que adelante.
Venga,
Gracias.
gracias Iván.
Muchas gracias,
Te
Iván.
pones a aquel lado.
Bueno, pues eso fue como empezó todo. Y bueno, seguramente habrán visto el vídeo del vídeo del contacto. Aquí tenemos tienen la suerte de estar de nuevo los participantes de ese contacto con la estación espacial que tuvo lugar el año pasado. Y si les parece bien, vamos a ver, para quienes no lo hayan visto, pues unos segunditos.
Vamos a ver un poquito cómo se... ¿Me escucháis? ¿Sí? ¿Se escucha? Vale. Un poquito a ver cómo se hizo la llamada por radio el año pasado, cuando hicimos el contacto con la ISS. Así que vamos a ver un poquito cómo se hace.
Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. This is Echo Golf 8, India Sierra Sierra. Are you ready to bring up the first student up to the microphone? Over. Okay, thank you very much. Here goes the first student.
Hello, my name is Laura. Can you tell me the different procedures that you must follow if you have an important technical problem? Over.
Laura, we do have many procedures. For anything that we do here in space, we have procedures. This is a very important part of our day. 99% of them are electronic, and we have usually line by line procedure or block by block, depending on the complexity. Over.
Bueno, como ven, es muy fácil hacer un contacto con la estación espacial. Simplemente nosotros llamamos con nuestro indicativo por radio, o sea, aquí ni Twenty, ni Facebook, ni nada, sino indicativo por radio, el otro indicativo, que si lo podemos poner en la pantalla para que lo vean y si tú quieres explicar.
Pues esto fue el indicativo que utilizamos, OR4 ISS, ahora os diremos cómo se dice en lenguaje radio para llamar, es el indicativo de la estación espacial. Y eje 8 ISS somos nosotros. Así que bueno, ahora queremos ver cómo hacéis vosotros una llamada a la ISS.
Over, la palabra cambio.
Over, hay que decirlo al final. ¿Vale? Entonces, a ver, repetid conmigo. Voy a decirlo yo primero. Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra, Echo Golf 8, India Sierra Sierra. Over. A ver.
Cada letra una
Cada letra
palabra,
tiene
¿vale?
una palabrita.
Sería Oscar,
Vale.
Romeo 4,
Ford,
India Sierra Sierra, Echo Golf 8, India Sierra Sierra. Pero vamos,
Over. A ver.
vamos a darle
Venga, todos.
un punto de realismo. Es que
Venga,
si no,
venga,
si
que
no
si
le damos
no-
un punto de realismo, no tal.
A ver,
Ponle-
vale.
Javi tiene aquí una radio.
A ver. Vamos a hacerlo un poco más realista. Yo tengo una radio, así que vamos a hacerlo como lo hicimos en su momento en el contacto con la ISS el año pasado. ¿Vale? Tengo la radio. ¿La escucháis? Venga. Pues vamos a hacerlo a la de 3, lo hacemos todos juntos. ¿De acuerdo? Venga. 1, 2, 3.
Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra, Echo Golf 8, India Sierra Sierra. Over. Y
Muy bien. Va bien. Bueno,
pero nadie contesta.
aquí no pasa nada.
Fueron 9 llamadas porque la estación estaba por debajo del horizonte y hasta que la empezamos a ver hicimos 9 llamadas.
Vamos
¿Otra
a
vez?
intentarlo otra vez, a ver si contesta alguien.
Oscar.
1, 2 y 3.
Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra, Echo Golf 8, India Sierra Sierra. Over. No.
Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. This is Oscar Romeo 4, India Sierra Sierra. Who's calling me?
Oscar Romeo 4, India, Sierra Sierra. This is Javier and Dimar calling you from the University of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. How is
Welcome on
everything
board.
over there? Over?
Hey, I'm talking to Gran Canaria. This is where you're calling me. Oh, I wish I would be there.
Yes, right. You are very right. We are talking from Gran Canaria, and it would be a real pleasure for us if you could be here today, but I'm not sure if you can make it. So what do you think about it?
Well, let me see. I will use one of the teletransporter machines, one of the new machines that we have invented here on the station, and I will come there. Give me a few seconds, and I will show up.
Okay, we are looking forward into it.
¡Oh! Un aplauso para Paolo Nespoli.
Welcome to the University, Paolo. Hello?
Switch it on. Switch it on, please.
It's turned on. Now.
Okay.
Hello.
Vamos a sentarnos ahí nosotros.
Is it better? Can you hear me? All right. So, yes, I was in space and I just came back here in 10 seconds. We have this special machine. The one, if you have seen Star Trek, you put the hands in there and say, "Beam me up, Scotty." And then it throws. There's no such machine. Is there such a machine or not? Are you sure? But it will be really useful if we would have it. So I'm looking forward with any of you in the future working and try to make such a machine. That will be really nice, really cool. You know, you can show up at somebody's house really quickly. You can surprise them, okay? So it's very nice for me to be here in Canary Island to see you. I talked to some of you in space about a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. It was nice to answer your questions. So I think today we have the opportunity. How's it going with the English? Everybody does not understand? Everybody understand? Who understands? Raise your hand. Ah. Okay. Very good. So we don't need a translation. Okay, very good. So it's very nice for me to be here. Have this opportunity to visit the Canary Islands. I've never been here before. And for what I've seen, you are very fortunate because it's a very good place. From space is very nice. You can see it nicely coming up after you've flown over the ocean. Finally, there is some land, and it's very green, very nice. And then Africa starts. It's very desertic, a lot of red, but the Canary Islands are really nice. So this is good. You're very fortunate of being able to live here, enjoy the environment, the mountains, the sea, go underwater, go up. So you can do a lot of things, and you have very good educational possibilities. A lot of schools, universities, a lot of people that care about what you do. So take advantage of this because this is not easy to find. It's one of the treasures and the richness you have. Take advantage of this. So I understand you're going to keep us or keep me under control.
Sure.
Todo bajo control.
And we will have the opportunity to ask more questions.
Do you want to start with the questions?
Let's go with the questions.
So, the first round,
Yes.
we have our mate Laura over there.
There are lots of schools willing to do lots of interesting questions. So, Laura?
Okay. So,
Well,
rápido.
Here
Okay.
is Paula, and her question is, what was the easiest mission and the most complicated in space?
What was the easiest and the most complicated thing? Wow.
Yes.
This is kind of difficult because you are in space for a long time and there are a lot of things that are easy here on the ground but difficult in space, and the opposite. I think the more complicated one was to really follow the plan that the ground send you up with all the experiments, all the things that you have to do. This is complicated because it's very fast. The easiest one is to look down at the window and look at the Earth. It's really, really nice. You just look down, take some pictures, and it's very nice. Very good experience. Thank you.
Next,
But we don't clap. We have no time for this.
next question is from Monse.
Hi. Usually children say that they want to become an astronaut, but finally they change their minds. How and when did you feel that beginning an astronaut was your vocation?
So some people want to be astronaut, but then they change their mind, when and how. Well, I'm going to talk about it later, but in essence, I thought I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid, when I saw the images from the moon. And then later on, I decided that it was a dream that needed to be achieved, and so I started working on it, and eventually I was able and fortunate to be able to go in space. So it's we'll talk later about all of this concept. This is very good.
Next question is from Alba.
What would be your advice to someone who looks forward to continuing his career as an engineer?
What would be my advice to somebody who wants to continue his career as an engineer? I would give to this person the same advice I give to everybody, which is to find your passion. Find your passion, whatever it is. It can be driving a taxi, or diving underwater, or cultivate plants, or cook. You need to find your passion, something that you really like, and do it well. So if engineering is what you like, then cultivate it and do it well, because when you do something well, then it's when you are happy, first thing. Usually, if you do it well, you actually get money, and people respond to you when you put passion in your work. You're welcome.
Okay, next one is from Sylvia.
What worries an astronaut the most during his trip?
What?
What worries an astronaut?
What worries an astronaut the most during his trip? To me, what was more worried is that I would make mistake. I would destroy an experiment. I would, there are a lot of people that work for years to build up an experiment. It costs a lot of money, a lot of effort. Then he goes in space, and then there is a sleeping astronaut there, just wakes up and is tired and doesn't read the procedure very well, and boom, breaks an experiment that cost, $3 million. That happens. It happens sometimes. So what worried me most of the time is that I would not be able to do my part. The rest, flying the rockets, going in space, do all the other crazy things, those are easy.
Okay. Next one is Rebecca.
Hello, I would like to know if you can suffer any illnesses during the journey, if they can be infectious, and what pathogens produce them.
All right, so you want to be a medical doctor or something when you grow up?
Yes.
Do you wash your hands
Yes.
all the time?
No.
Good. Because you know that washing hands all the time is not good. What? Well, the space station is, so if we get ill in space, and space station is pretty good environment because it's clean. And when we go in space, they tend to wash us and clean us, so we don't bring any pathogen, anything that can get us sick, or we try not to. So you don't get cold, or flu, or this kind of things. You can still get something else. You can break your hand or cut yourself. And usually we try to be attentive. So you usually don't get really bad things in space. I was there 6 months and I felt very good, except once they raised the level of CO2. What is CO2? What? CO2. Huh? CO. Dos, okay. CO2, anidride carbonica, no, what is it? Anidride carbonica. When they raise that level, you know, there is a machine that cleans it, but they let it go up. And there, well, I felt a little bit strange. But in general, it's very good. It's a very good environment. Okay, thank you. I come here because from there I cannot hear well. So, yes?
Next question is here. She is Clara. How do you prevent air from escaping when you come in and out of the spacecraft?
How do you prepare for escaping?
Yes. Air when you come in and out of the spacecraft?
How do you prevent air from escaping when you come in and out of the spacecraft? Meaning that if you open the window or the door, the air is going to go out, right? Yes, that's a good question because, you know, in space, you don't want to open the door or the window. It's not kind of good, you know. It might change air, but, you know, it goes out, it doesn't come in. Usually there is a technical thing. There are like two doors. So you go in the first part. It's like you have a little vestibule. How do we translate vestibule in Spanish? What's vestibulo. Okay, you have a little, un pequeñito vestíbulo, and you open the first door, you get in the vestibule, make sure this is closed. Now inside here it's a very small volume, and you open the second one, and the little air that is here goes out and it gets lost. We do have a pump on station now. If you go for a spacewalk, you know, you get in the vestibulo, close the door, already with your suit on, and then you suck the air out so you don't lose it, throw it into the station, and then you can open this door and finally go out in space. That's the way we do it, not to lose air, because air is precious up there.
Okay. The next one is Roberto.
Do you have internet access aboard the International Space Station?
I'm going to do a lot of kilometers here by the end of the day. Do you have internet access aboard the International Space Station? What do we need internet access for? What would you do with internet access in space?
In the computer.
What would you do with it?
I understand.
You don't understand? Okay. So, it's okay. Yes. The answer is yes. We do have internet access in space. We do. It's not as quick, as fast as you have in your house, but we do have it, and we can send email. We can talk with voice over IP, you know, like something like similar to Skype, or some. You can make phone calls. You can call friends and leave nasty messages if you don't find them. Hey, I called you from the station and you're not home. So you can do a lot of things. I used it to tweet. I was doing Twitter. I bet some of you do Twitter. Do you know what Twitter is? Do you use Twitter? I was doing Twitter. I was putting pictures on Flickr. So if you want to see some of the pictures that I have put on the web, go to Flickr, look for Paolo Nespoli, and you will see a lot of those pictures there. So yes, there is internet, and it's very nice to have it. It's a good way to connect to the world. How are we doing with time? Perfect? Great. I can talk more for another half an hour.
Yes. Maybe two more questions here.
Wait, there.
You want? Yeah.
You have to walk a lot.
Go ahead, fire the question.
Okay.
Two other questions there.
Next to me is Jorge, and I think he has a question.
What physical and mental abilities should an astronaut have?
What physical and mental abilities should an astronaut have? Well, an astronaut is not a Superman. It's not a superhero. It's not a super genius. It's just a regular guy. So it should be a regular person with regular, normal mental and physical abilities. That's what astronauts really are. I mean, I feel I go in space and I am an electrician. You know, I'm a plumber, a fontanero. If something breaks, who's going to fix it? You cannot call, hey, can you come and fix the toilet? You have to fix it yourself. So you need to be normal and be aware of your capabilities. And I think what you should do, you should also do all the things possible to understand what are your capabilities. Okay?
And the last question for this round is from Hector.
Is it profitable to maintain the International Space Station taking into consideration the benefit for science?
If this profitable to maintain the International Space Station taking into consideration what? The benefits. Well, this is an interesting question. If the investment we are making to go in space for the International Space Stations are worth. Am I translating the question? Am I rephrasing the question in a good way? My opinion is yes, because it's an investment on the future. You know, you can go in space, you can do research that you cannot do on ground, otherwise you will not go in space. You know, there is microgravity there, that there is no here on the ground you always have gravity, but if you want to do something without gravity, you need to go in space. You can look at the Earth in a way that you cannot look here. And you can do a lot of research. Now, it's very difficult to justify this in a detailed manner, because when you do research, you never know what you're going to find. When you do these kind of things, you don't know. One of the reasons to go in space is because it's difficult. What? We go in space because it's difficult? If it's difficult, why we go? Well, that's exactly the reason. When we do difficult things, we come up with things that are easily used in everyday situation. So putting ourselves, working at the limit, it's a good way to advance your limit. And my opinion is that all the work we do on station, yes, can be done better. Yes, we can streamline it. Yes, we can do things in a much better way, but we should continue with research, both on ground and in space.
Si no te importa, vamos a ver un vídeo sobre cómo es la estación espacial, porque estamos hablando mucho sobre la estación espacial, pero vamos a ver algunos detalles solamente de cómo es la vida a bordo de la estación. Muy cortito.
Muchos lo estáis preguntando. Nadie ha preguntado todavía cómo es la estación por dentro o cómo se pasa un día dentro de la estación, así que tenemos un pequeño vídeo preparado para que lo veáis.
view is incredible. Learning how to fly in space. International partnership. Learning how to fly in space.
Bueno.
So you have, there was a video clip put together by Expedition 16, yeah, it was just a few clips here and there, but you see that the environment on the station is not something that you can find here on Earth. Have you seen they were trying to eat something, and as soon as you touch something, it bounces back, and so you lose things all the time. You can do a lot of things that you cannot do here on Earth. The station is really a strange and crazy environment, and it takes quite some time before people can actually work effectively up there. So I would really wish that each one of you would try this magic environment, and I'm pretty sure in the future, probably for some of you, and maybe more than some, this will be possible.
Okay, so if you want, let's go.
You have more questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
more questions.
You guys ask a lot of questions.
So there we have Marcos again.
Yeah, here is Claudio with one question.
In the future, do you think a space station could work as a hotel for people to go to on their holidays? If so, how much would you think it would cost?
If the space station, do you want to go on a holiday on space?
Maybe it would
Maybe.
be.
If the space station may work as a hotel, or yeah, and actually I think so. Maybe not the space station that we have now, because it's a laboratory, and if you want to go on vacation, or you want to sleep and eat well and do your things and look outside, but the laboratory now that we have is more for working than being vacation. But I think that in the future, not that long time, people will be able to go in space as a tourist. There will be a hotel up there, so you can go for vacation, you can go for a honeymoon, you can go for things, just with friends, have a party, birthday party in space. It's going to cost quite something. I mean, the first flights, they're going to cost probably around $20 million. Let's say 15 million euros. It's kind of expensive. But the price will go down. You know that at the beginning of the century, when the intercontinental flight started, flight from Europe to the United States, the cost was a lot. I mean, it was almost impossible for everybody. I mean, it cost like $200,000 or 200,000 euros to fly from this. This is what happened at the beginning, and then price will go down. So I'm pretty sure that in the next years it will be possible. The cost will be very high at the beginning, and then it will go down, and it will be a little bit simpler. Almost like today, if you want to go to New York, you buy a ticket and you go to New York. It's expensive, but not crazy expensive.
One more question now from Miguel.
In what way, if any, has the current global financial crisis affected the development of the International Space Station program?
So, in what way, if any, has the current global financial crisis affected the development? Blah, 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 blah. Yes. Of course. In what way? Yes, the crisis or the fact that we are in a crisis has had an impact on the space programs. The United States have retired the shuttle, mostly because it cost a lot of money. They did not plan a new program yet. No, they are planning, but they don't have a vehicle yet. So there are things that are really impacting space travel, space research, and space as everything else. So we just need to be more attentive on how we spend the resources and be careful on the results. But this is happening everywhere, including space. And this is good. Once in a while, this needs to happen, otherwise things get crazy. Thank you.
One more question now from Jaime.
What type of training do you have to go through to become an astronaut?
What? He said, yeah. What? All right. What type of trainings you need to go through to become an astronaut? Well, the training is such that when you are selected as an astronaut, it takes about 2 years of activities before you actually, they give you the wings. They give you are allowed to go in space because you have enough knowledge. You need to know the spacecraft, all the systems. You need to start knowing about experiments. What would you like to do when you grow up? What?
Periodist. Or
Periodist, journalists.
Yes.
So you don't want to go in space, okay. But if you are an engineer, you need to learn about biology, about medicine, about rocks, about weather, about all of these disciplines. So you need to learn many other things that normally you don't know because I'm just an engineer, I don't know anything about medicine, but I had to learn to take blood, for example, or do these kind of things. So you do all this training, technical trainings, and also you do some trainings to put yourself in strange situation, small places for a long time with a lot of people, so you have conflicts. Do you always get along with your friends, or sometimes you have discussions?
Discussions.
Yes.
Sometimes.
You beat them up sometimes?
Yes.
Yes. That's what we usually do, but in space it's not so nice. So we learn to understand this and cope with these things. So it's a lot of activities, and then eventually you're assigned to a space flight, and then you actually train on the experiments that you will do in space. But it takes a long time, minimum 4 or 5 or 6 years. It can be 10 or even more.
One more now from Conchi.
Hello. Have you ever seen a meteor shower or an asteroid from the ISS?
If I ever seen a meteor shower or
Asteroid.
an asteroid from the ISS, the answer is no, because we don't take showers on the ISS. That was a strange answer. No, the answer is no. I never saw a meteor shower, but I saw a meteor, several of them, and it's actually strange because here on the ground to see a meteor, you just look up and you see it crossing the sky. On the space station, you have to look down because it passes between you and the ground, and it passes under. So it's very nice. Sometimes you're looking and you see this meteor coming under you, and it's very nice. And I've seen several of them. But I never saw a shower of meteorites. So, sorry, no shower in space.
So, as you said before, astronauts need to have a healthy lifestyle. So we're going to make you do some exercise. Some questions here on the left with Laura.
Come here. Well,
Very
the next question is from Brian.
How long can you live in space?
How long can you live in space? What do you think? How long can you live in space? What do you think? I don't know, that's why I ask. Okay. I think in space, you know, the body gets a little bit weird because you don't have any more gravity. So the muscle don't work anymore, and so they get kind of flaccid. They can kind of like this. The bones don't work anymore, and the skeleton starts dissolving. You get a lot of radiation from space that we don't get here on Earth because it's filtered by the atmosphere. So people have lived in space for a year. The record is 14 months, 1 year and 2 months. The doctor have calculated that if you stay in space for 1 year, you get an amount of radiation that is still okay. I mean, we as astronauts, we have a higher percentage of tumors because of radiation exposure, but the percentage is relatively low. I could guess if you really need to, you can live in space for, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. but right now the limit is about 1 year, because in 1 year the effects on the skeleton, on the muscle, on the radiation start getting heavy. We need to be able to stay longer in space if we want to go to Mars. So we need to work out different solutions, like centrifuge or something like that. So for the moment today it's about a year, but in the future it will be better because we'll find better ways. You will find better ways to go in space.
Okay, next one is from Paola.
What has been the most impressive thing that you have discovered in space?
What are you, in a cave or something?
She's
Hello.
an alien.
What?
What has been the most impressive thing that you have discovered in space, which you never thought you would?
What is the most impressive thing that I have discovered in space? I did not discover anything. I mean, I was there carrying out experiments from the scientists. I have discovered that being in 0G is interesting, is nice. I have discovered that being in space for 6 months and working like this, it's not so complicated. We can do it easily. I have discovered that there are a lot of people that care what you're doing. So, and I think this is all interesting. I did not see any extraterrestrial life, unfortunately, except for my colleagues, because we all were outside of the world, so we were extraterrestrial. But I really did not discover anything really strange and supernatural. Sorry.
Next one is Andrea.
Well, I would like to know which type of work do you carry out when you're on Earth?
You would like to know what type of work I carry out when I am on Earth? I don't work, I just have fun. I mean, well, this is what you should try to do too. I mean, because what is work for somebody is fun for the other guy. So you really should try to find something that you do and you have fun and you get paid for. And for me, you know, being an engineer or going around talking to schools like you, it's really fun. So what I usually do, where is Andrea? I lost her. Ah, there it is. What I usually do, I work about 50% of my time. I work as an engineer because I'm an engineer for the European Space Agency. And then 30% of my time I go out and talk to school kids and other things. And sometimes I have a vacation. Sometimes I put everything together. Thanks.
Next one is Beatriz.
What experiments have you carried out in microgravity conditions? Which is the gravity's value in the space station's orbit?
Okay, what experiments I carried out in microgravity, and the second part I missed.
And which gravity?
Which is the gravity value in the space station orbit. What does it mean that? Okay, all right. I carried out a lot of experiments. I mean, we do a lot of experiments on station. In my increment, which means in my 5.5 months or 6 months, we have done more than 100 experiments. You know, some very simple, some a little bit more complicated. Life science, combustion science. I mean, there is all sorts of things. I think there will be some booklets distributed, right, later on. Mm-hmm. There will be some booklets that talk about International Space Station, European Space Agency, what we do, and you can go online and look for all of these things. Now, what is the value of the gravity in space, on the space station? It's about 1. What does that mean?
Do you want me to say the question? Do you want me to ask you the question again, or no?
No, okay. I'm just answering you. If
okay.
I understand your question, the answer is 1. What? Do we have the time to explain that? No? What is the value of microgravity on the International Space Station? It's either, you cannot buy it, so it's not that. But here on Earth, the value of gravity is 1, right? When you are on Earth. When you are on the International Space Station at 400 kilometers, it's still 1. The only thing is that you are orbiting around the Earth, and therefore the result is that you are just floating around. Oh, we have somebody who can answer the question. What is the value of gravity on the ISS? It's somebody important because he has a tie.
il rettore.
What is your opinion on that?
Zero.
Zero. Well, that's also a good answer. The apparent, the value is actually 1, but the result is 0. So there is what is called microgravity.
This is the rector of the university.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rettore.
All right, very good. Are you staying here for a? No? You want to say a few words? Let's have a word here.
Buenos días a todos. Bueno, pues ya vuelvo a dar la bienvenida a la Universidad de Las Palmas de Gran Canaria y para nosotros es pues una satisfacción el poder contar aquí con Paolo, que ya lo vimos en su momento, el grupo que estuvimos pues viendo la estación y cómo comunicamos con él. Y bien, welcome to our university. I'm very pleased to have you here, and you can continue.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate your invitation, and I will be back. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Ready.
Okay, so I would like to know, how does weightlessness affect the inner ear? Do you get disoriented?
Interesting. So, why, let me see, weightlessness affect the inner ear? Why this question? I mean, why do we think the inner ear has to do with gravity or microgravity?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Should I write it down? Why the inner ear is affected by weightlessness, or by gravity? I mean,
I don't know.
What is the relationship between the inner ear and gravity?
Maybe because of la onda. When you speak, it's, I don't know.
Okay. In fact, we have the ear, which allow us to hear, but close to the ear, there is right here, right there, there is a little thing that is painful if you push. Actually, there are 3 little channels that actually sense gravity, and if you close your eyes, and I do this, close your eyes. Don't open. If I do this, see, she's not falling down. Why? Because this system, which is called vestibular system, is feeling that you are going like this, and the muscles are controlling this movement. Now, in space, there is no more gravity. So if I would do this to her in space, she would just flip around and feel nothing. You will not notice that unless you hit your head somewhere. You will not. In fact, there are some experiences where you close. You know, sometimes, I'm taking my time here. Sometimes you are sitting and they're doing a debrief. Debrief is when the ground is talking to you, and so you're listening, and then the Russian starts talking in Russian, and you're listening, and a few minutes later, you're just falling a little bit asleep, What happens when you fall asleep here on the ground, your head does that. So you just wake up. In space, it doesn't do this. So you just fall asleep. And you're sitting there normal, but you're sleeping, and suddenly you start floating around the capsule. And it's very funny, because there is a camera, and we don't do anything. We just let the guy fly around the capsule, Until you wake up maybe a minute later, and you are like this. So the inner ear, it actually goes crazy for the first hours or days in space, so you feel a little bit sick because it's not anymore able to interpret all these signals. But then later on, gets used to it, and you ignore all the senses. And then when you come back to Earth, then you pay again, because now you feel all these things, and you're able anymore to react. Thank you for asking this question. Give me 5. Good. Where are we?
Okay.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, Hello. What? Who are you?
You need to hold it together with that one.
Hello. Hello, can you hear us? Are you in the space station?
No.
Hello.
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 Cuidado con la cámara.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, we can hear you. Who are you?
Who am I?
What are you doing there?
In my,
You have a question?
yeah, I understand the question.
All right, where are you?
In England.
In England. In England where?
In Bristol.
I see. Bristol. Is it warm?
No.
We have sun here and it's warm. Okay. Go for your question.
Wow.
Have you got now the we on the ISS?
Abraham is the guy who asked you last year if a
Wii
console
would
game
work.
like a Wii would work on the ISS.
Ah, the Wii.
So
How do you control the Wii on the ISS? Yeah, you're asking always the same question. It's difficult. I think we should bring one. We should bring one in space and see if it works. I think there will be a little bit of a problems with gravity because I think some of the sensor inside the Wii sense gravity. But so it will be an interesting experiment. Maybe you should write a proposal to the European Space Agency and ask them to bring up one and see what happens. I think it will work though. It will be interesting. Maybe we can control the spacecraft with the Wii, you know, like this. All right. Ciao, we'll see you. Come back to Gran Canaria. Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay, so Abraham was.
Hasta luego, Abraham.
Bye. Abraham was one of the students who last year asked questions to Paolo during the ARISCon. And now he couldn't come because he's in England, so we wanted to reach him also.
Good.
Now he's gone.
And
Any other surprise coming up?
no more surprises. By now, just more questions and more exercise
More
for
questions?
More
you.
questions.
So more exercise for you.
All right,
Continue with
more questions.
Marco
Where are
here.
we? There?
Next question is here.
Is space debris dangerous? How is the ISS protected against it?
What is dangerous if?
Is space debris dangerous? How is the ISS protected against it?
If space debris are dangerous, and how is the ISS protected? Very good question. What do you want to do when you grow up?
I don't really know. Probably something with science.
Okay, very good. Yes, because space junk, you know, which is not banana peels, is some pieces of satellite or little bolts or even little paint flying in space at 30,000 kilometers per hour. It's like a bullet. It's very difficult, and a little thing like a grain of salt, if it will hit you while you're walking, spacewalking, it will go through you like you are a piece of butter. It just goes through it. So it has a lot of energy. So it's kind of dangerous. There is a lot of this space debris. There is a lot of cosmic stuff coming through. In fact, the station gets hit fairly frequently. So we have, around the pressurized part, there is a little screen that is supposed to break all this little particle. Now, if something is bigger, then that screen cannot stop these things. So what we do, on the ground, there are radar stations that look up in the sky and actually map all these pieces, everything that is bigger than 2.5 centimeters by 2.5 centimeters, something like this. It's actually known where it is and where it goes because they keep track of it. like 40,000 objects flying around the Earth. And so once in a while, the software comes up with a red light and says, hey, wait a second, there might be a collision. So they move the station up and down. So for the small parts, there is a screen. For the bigger part, you move the station away. But debris, space debris is a problem, and we are trying to not to create any more debris or junk in space, because we know now that is a problem. Now repeat.
Next one is Martina.
Martina, okay.
How often can you talk to your family during a mission?
I got how often, but not the rest. So wait a second.
Yes.
How often can you talk to your family during a mission? You know, talking to, avoiding the feeling of being isolated. Isolated is when you are in a place you cannot talk to anybody. This is really bad. So this is known to create problems. So NASA, the European Space Agency, the other space agency have come up with systems so we can stay in touch with the ground. We have a phone on the station. You can call. Most of the time, you need a satellite link, so most of the time can call. And every week, so I can call. I actually talk to my wife, and I have a 3-year-old daughter. I talk to them almost every day. But every week, they give you 10 or 15 minutes to actually do a video conference with your family, because it's very nice to see the things. In fact, I can tell you something. Do we have the time? Of course we don't, so I'm not going to ask. In fact, something very interesting happened. My daughter was 2 years old when I was in space. And so I left 2 weeks later, and I'm doing a video conference, and I see the screen. I see that she comes towards the screen, looks at me, comes towards the camera, and then I don't see anything anymore. So I'm asking my wife, what happened? What's going on? And she says, well, it's really funny, because Sophia, my daughter, turned around, put her shoulders against the monitor, and tried to come on your lap. She was trying to come on my lap and could not figure out why she could not. She wanted to come on my lap, and she could not. So this is really interesting how things happen with up there. And this is very important to keep the link with the family. Thanks for the question. Where are we? Here.
Here now. Marta Stern.
If you found an alien, what would you teach him, and what would you like to learn from him?
Well, what about if I find an alien, what I would teach him or learn from him? Well, why an alien is a guy? Could it be a girl? I prefer to, an alien girl, But can it be a girl? A nice one? No, a bad one, whatever.
Yes, I don't know.
It doesn't matter?
Yes.
Do you have a preference, a guy or a girl?
I don't care.
I don't care. Me too, because I would really love to talk to an alien. No, sometimes I talk to people, I think they are aliens. But in general, I would really like to talk to aliens, because I would be the first one saying, hey, I talked to an alien, I talked to a Martian. But I didn't. I don't know. I mean, I always think if alien comes, they probably know more than we do. Because if they travel all the way here, probably they know more. So they are probably looking at us thinking that, I think that they look at us and think that we are pretty rudimental, pretty basic, pretty ancient. So we probably have a lot of things to learn. Maybe I'll ask him or her, can I make a phone call with your phone? Maybe they have a special phone. I don't know. Probably they have something. So I don't know. I will be interesting, actually. I did not figure out the question because it depends on where we are. Maybe they just take me and start cutting me apart. I don't know. I hope not. But we will see. Thank you.
Christina also wants to ask you something.
Okay, is the energy used at the International Space Station renewable or non-renewable?
If the energy in the International Space Station is renewable or not? That's a good, interesting question. And the answer is?
Yes.
It's yes?
Or not.
Or not?
I don't know.
Where do we get the energy in the International Space Station?
Maybe solar energy or something like that.
Are you sure there's not a cable that goes from the station all the way to ground?
I'm sure.
There might be a cable there, you know. Actually, yes. So the answer is partly. So all the electrical energy is coming from the sun. So it's, I would guess, renewable energy, which is not so easy when you are traveling around the Earth at 28,000 kilometers per hour. Every half an hour or 40 minutes, you have a sunset or a sunrise because you go around the Earth. So if you would have only the light, I mean, if you have electricity depending from the sun, then every half an hour everything shuts down, and then it starts again half an hour later. So it's a very complex system. It's not so simple. But we do take electrical energy for all the equipment. We do use electrical energy for moving the station, for turning it around. But we cannot use it to change the altitude. So for that, we need to bring fuel from the ground, which is not renewable. We need to bring fuel so that these spacecrafts, like tugs, they actually push the station up or down. So most of it is reusable, as all the water is reusable on the station. Even the one that we produce, we recycle it and use it again.
A question from Dixa.
What problems need to be overcome before people will be able to travel to other planets in our solar system?
That was a long question. What problems need to be overcome before people will be able to travel to other planets in our solar system? Travel to other planets. What is the planets closest to us? What planets are you talking about? Any?
Mars?
Mars? Mars is a good candidate. Because, you know, Venus, which is closer than Mars, is not so good. It's all gas and bad, so Mars is a little bit better. Not that Mars is much better, but better. What problems? Well, we will talk later, but Mars is far. And we need to build a spacecraft able to get there. We will talk about it later. But there are some things that we need to do in the future. We need to really come up with new rockets, new engines, new technologies, and new procedures.
One question from Pedro.
How does the role of each participating country differ depending on the capital they invest?
If the role of each participant country depends on the capital they invest. Yes. Yes, because normally the investment from a country goes towards industry that comes from that country. Is that complicated? Meaning that if you're Spain, for example, and you invest 10, then ESA and the other guys need to give about 10, the equivalent of the money you invested to technical contracts to industries of your country. So this is a good way to do research and to make the industry work better. This is a good thing because, you know, everybody thinks it costs a lot of money to go in space, thinking that, you know, we take money and we throw it in space. We don't bring any money up there. I never seen any money on the space station, not even my wallet. The money stays on the ground. It goes to research center, university, industry. So, and each partner gets in return, usually proportionally to what they invest. So it's one of the rules that we follow.
Now, Erika.
How do you feel when the spaceship takes off?
How do you feel when a spaceship what?
Takes off.
Takes off. Oh, how do you feel during launch? Not lunch, launch. Well, you know how long it takes from the moment you lift off to when you are in space? You know how long it takes? How long?
Yes.
What?
When the spaceship takes off.
How long does it take from the moment the engine starts and you start your travel and the time you are in space? How long does it take? Anybody knows?
I don't know.
A day? A week? A month? An hour? 1 minute? Few minutes. Yes. It takes actually 8.5 minutes from the moment in which you take off and the moment you are in space. But you travel 600 kilometers. So the equivalent from Madrid to Barcelona, more or less, in 8.5 minutes. So it's pretty strong, pretty rough. I mean, it's not something that you do normally when you drive on your car, but it's also something that is not extremely exceptional. I mean, everybody of you, with a little bit of training, will be able to sustain this. You feel, I felt, shaken and squeezed, and but I also felt finally we go in space, because you train for many, many years, and finally actually you're going in space. So I felt really happy, really, really intent in flavoring this experience.
And last but not least, Javier.
What kind of astronomical knowledge should an astronaut have?
Astronomical?
Yes.
What kind of astronomical knowledge an astronaut should have? Well, in the old time, I'm talking about Apollo or the Russians, they actually taught astronauts a lot about stars, because if everything shuts down, then you need to be able to look outside and figure out where you are or where you're going. They had sextants, a little bit like going on a boat. On a boat in the old times, they used to have this instrument, check out the stars and figure out where they were. Similar to that. This was in the old time. Now we have GPS, we have radio communication, so we don't really get much training. I mean, not much. Some. Of course, you know more or less where are the main stars and things like that. But to tell you the truth, there's more a general knowledge than a need to know up there.
So that's all with the questions, Paolo?
You probably know, you need to know more about astronomy, because people ask strange questions. That's what you know sometimes. There's more because of answering the question. How are you doing?
Well,
very well.
So
what do we have? More questions?
No. We know,
That's it?
We know that you have an important message to send
students.
So no more questions?
No, not
no.
so far.
So what do you want to do? All right, I will show you a couple of slides. But
Okay.
wait a second. Yes, let's go for the slides.
Okay. It will show up soon.
Is there a laser here?
Yes, the green one. Yeah.
So I asked the organizer here, they planned to ask questions, but I wanted to have a little bit of time to actually talk to you. Can we lower the lights so we can see better here? I wanted to have a little bit of time so I could actually talk to you. And because I think this is important in terms of message here. So what message would I give to you? The idea of becoming an astronaut to me came when I was a kid, not far away from where you are now. I was a little kid, and the American astronauts were going to the moon. I was looking at these images. You have seen the images. The astronauts are kind of walking in a weird way on the moon because there is reduced gravity, so you cannot walk. You actually need to be careful because you may fall, and then they were not even sure if you fall down, you're able to stand up again inside that suit. But I was always fascinated by this kind of walk. And I was also fascinated by this guy here, which is a kind of a jeep. It's a lunar jeep. And the fact that you can go on a jeep on the moon and you are, driving around with this thing, always made me like, wow, I want to do that too. It's going to be cool. I want to go to the moon and I want to jump around and drive that jeep. That was how I started. Things were a little bit different though. This was me at about age 10.
Paolo, excuse me.
What?
We know that this message is very important, so we are, if you don't mind,
I'm sorry.
we are going to
we will have a
translate
translation.
it.
Do you guys want a translation? Yes or no? Let me make a proposal. We will have a very quick, short translation. We'll not translate word by word, but just quick.
Paulo dijo que cuando realmente que tenía más o menos la edad de ustedes cuando ya se sentía por primera vez que quería ser astronauta y se sentía particularmente inspirado por el primer paseo en la Luna, y cuando vio que además es que aparte de andar de una manera muy extraña es que tenía un jeep. Y él dijo, yo quiero también irme a la Luna y pasear en un jeep, eso sería realmente guay. Yo quiero hacer eso el día de mañana. Y eso como empezó todo. Y entonces que tenía el aspecto de lo que tenía en la segunda diapositiva.
Next slide.
Keep going because you're doing good. So I was a kid like anybody else. I grew up in a small town north of Milan. I always look at this picture and like, wow, that's a nice face. But then you look at my hands, see they're all broken up. Probably I fall down somewhere. I was fairly active, I was jumping here, jumping there. They're all scratched and broken and all these things. Because I was very active. I've always been very active in exploring what is around me. I was never the guy that stayed home and studied. I would just go out and do crazy things. That was what it was interesting me. In fact, at the end of the high school, I started university. I wanted to be an engineer. I started university, and after 6 months, I decided, I don't think I will be able to do this. I'm not sure I like that. I'm not sure I'm able to study and do all of this. So I went into the army. I left school and I went to the army, and there I started doing all sorts of weird things. First of all, I was in a paratrooper unit, so I was jumping off aircraft. So I was doing a lot of weird things that made me understand what are my limits. Because when you are a kid like this, you don't know. Can you climb a mountain? Can you go on top of Everest? Can you go underwater? Could you fly a plane? You don't know. The answer is maybe. Can you ride a horse? Could you be a Formula One pilot? Or a good soccer player? Or a good golf player? You don't know. If you don't try and you don't apply yourself, you don't know. And a lot of times we think that we have limits. And these limits, most of the time, is what we said and we think are our limits, but not necessarily they are. Let's see.
Bueno, cuando era niño era un poco trasto, que ya se pueden ver que aunque tengo ya las manos ya allí cruzadas, es que las tengo todas rotas porque estaba siempre por fuera. Era hiperactivo, estaba siempre explorando cosas, no me gustaba quedar en casa para estudiar. Y cuando terminé el instituto, me fui a la universidad para estudiar ingeniería y a los 6 meses decidí que eso no era para mí. Entonces, que no lo iba a poder hacer. Y me fui y me enrolé en el ejército. Y en el ejército hice un montón de cosas extrañas, que era siempre intentar encontrar hasta dónde podía empujar mis límites. Quería ver lo que era capaz de hacer, si era capaz de volar en avión, si era capaz de bucear, si era capaz de lanzarme en paracaídas. Y que creo que lo que tenemos que hacer es que realmente cuando somos jóvenes es explorar lo que podemos hacer, porque si no lo intentamos no lo vamos a saber jamás. Y realmente los únicos límites que nosotros ponemos en nuestras vidas son esos, los límites que nosotros colocamos. Es que hay que intentar entonces franquear estas barreras, franquear estos límites, y esto era lo que yo hacía.
So, essentially what I learned is that if you have the basic knowledge, which is what you are now acquiring in school, you need to have some knowledge. If you have good training, if you have your mindset, I want to see what she says about mindset. If you have a team working with you, then you can do a lot of things that seem impossible. And so at 26, I decided to take out again the idea of going to the moon and become an astronaut. Of course, now at 26, I did not have a university degree. I did not speak English. I had a regular health. So these are the three basic things that you really need to do to be an astronaut. So a university degree, technical university degree, English at a very good level, and good health. Of these three, I was missing two, and I was already 26. So I kind of lost a lot of time, but I learned, my lesson was not to believe in the limits that are in front of you. You want to take it?
Yes, sure. Bueno, yo entonces que aprendí que con un conocimiento básico y una buena formación y una determinación clara ya para perseguir a los objetivos que uno ha fijado en la vida, con un buen equipo de personas que le ayude, es que puedes hacer muchas cosas que en principio parecía imposible. Y entonces a la edad de 26 años decidí que lo que iba a hacer era otra vez dedicarme a lo que realmente quería hacer, que era ser astronauta. Pero lo decidí en un momento que no tenía carrera, que no tenía inglés y no tenía una salud de roble. Tenía 26 años, ahora tengo 62, pero es que ya también aprendí que los límites otra vez eran los límites que yo me iba a poner a mí misma, entonces decidí poner manos a la obra.
Yes, so my health was fine, by the way. The rest was missing. But so I decided to start again, work really hard and really put my mind into it. And sure enough, it took many years, but I was able to fly in space once in 2007 with the space shuttle, and then again in 2010, this time with the Russians, in space for 6 months on the International Space Station. And these are things that are possible. I mean, I'm not a Superman and not a superhero. I'm just a regular guy. So I wanted to talk a second about the future, because this is what really interests you. When we fly with the International Space Station, we are very close to Earth. Fly somewhere around here, very close. 400 kilometers is close to Earth. Do you know what is the distance between the Earth and the Moon? What? How much? How long? What is the distance? Kilometers. Anybody knows? More or less. 50. Okay, it's 300, more or less, 350,000 kilometers. 350,000 kilometers. If I take a spacecraft, a shuttle or a Soyuz, it's going to take about a week to get there, more or less. I can stay, they used to stay a few hours up to a couple of days on the moon and then come back. So in about less than 2 weeks, they would come from the Earth, go to the moon and come back. And when they are on the moon, they still have the flight controllers on the ground that are able to check the spacecraft.
Okay.
So because the distance is such that the radio signal goes and comes back in about 2 seconds, more or less.
Bueno, así que yo trabajé duro y que ya 2 veces me he estado en el espacio ya, en 2008 con los rusos y en 2010 con la agencia europea. Y yo, como les dije antes, es que soy normal, yo no soy ningún superhombre. Pero lo que realmente quiero hablar es del futuro. Sabemos que cuando nosotros estamos en órbita en la estación espacial, estamos ya a unos 400 kilómetros de la Tierra, estamos bastante cerca. ¿Y cuál es la distancia entre la Tierra y la Luna? Pues unos 350.000 kilómetros. Entonces, originalmente, cuando se iba a Soyuz, es que tardaba una semana en llegar allí, entonces que estaba ahí, pues 2 horas a 2 semanas. Y ahora, cuando estamos allí, todavía estamos ya en contacto con los controladores ya en la Tierra y que tenemos ya unas buenas comunicaciones que hace que esta distancia tan enorme se puede recorrer en comunicaciones en 2 segundos aproximadamente.
So what is the distance now from Earth and the most interesting planet close to us, which is Mars? What is the distance? Do you know?
La distancia entre la Tierra y Marte, ¿lo saben?
More or less. What? Come on. 1 light year. Wow. Starting getting into complicated things. Let's not talk about light years. Mars is about 50, 75, 70 million kilometers, more or less. That means if I take one of our spacecraft, you know, the shuttle or the Soyuz, if it could fly to Mars, it's going to take about 1 year, more or less, to go to Mars. Then Mars goes away, so you have to wait another year that comes closer to Earth, and then travel back to Earth. So it takes, let's say, between 2 to 3 years, the whole round trip. Now, this is going to be a little bit more complicated, because when you take, 10 people, put them in a spacecraft, they have to have all the food and everything. On top of that, if you are on Mars, and you talk to the ground, you say, for example, Houston.
We have.
Houston, what is the valve 453/2 KFG PQL? Are you writing down everything? No. Okay. Is that valve open or closed? Then you're sitting here on Mars and you wait about 10 minutes that the radio signal goes to Earth, comes to Houston, they think about it for a minute, and then they answer back. So 20 minutes later or half an hour later, you hear, what? Say again, please. So it's obvious that the mechanism that we have today will not work if we want to go to Mars. We need to invent something else.
Bueno, la Tierra y Marte, que hay 57 millones de kilómetros, es que tardando en los cohetes que tenemos ahora, los transportadores, que tarda 1 año. Llegar a Marte, y entonces que si después de que tener ya una buena exploración allí, es que lo que estamos ya diciendo que es 2 o 3 años ida y vuelta. Y que, claro, con una tripulación de 10 personas eso significa mucha comida, muchos aparatos durante este largo tiempo. Y es evidente con los sistemas de comunicaciones que tenemos en este momento, pues no podemos trabajar, porque esa distancia es que tarda 10 minutos en mandar la pregunta y tiene que esperar unos 30 minutos para que te devuelvan una respuesta, que puede ser que sí repita la pregunta. Así que tenemos que buscar nuevas formas de comunicaciones, nuevas formas que probablemente ustedes aquí en esta sala buscarán.
Okay, Margaret, have you never seen those preachers that talk and they have a translator attached to them? Come here.
Okay.
Let's work it out this way. So I say a short word and you translate immediately. Okay, so if we go to Mars, it takes a long time.
Si vamos a Marte, tarda mucho tiempo.
What about, so we saw that you actually need to work really hard to make this possible.
Hemos visto que tenemos que trabajar mucho para que eso sea factible, viable económicamente.
But around us there are a lot of stars. See, barely seeing here, but there are stars.
Alrededor de nosotros hay muchos astros, asteroides.
What is the star in the solar system that is closer to us?
¿Cuál es el asteroide que está más cercano a nosotros en el sistema solar?
Who was the guy that was talking about light years down there?
¿Quién estaba hablando de años
So,
luz antes?
what is the star closer to us? The sun, outside of the solar
Sol
system.
está más cercana a nosotros. ¿Y fuera del sistema solar?
Who knows? Who is this? Okay, what? Alpha Centauro, very good. Very
Alfa
good.
Centauro, muy bien.
Is the star Alpha or the constellation Centauros, which is how far away it is? Do you know how far away it is?
¿A qué distancia, sabe? ¿A
What?
qué distancia está Alfa Centauro?
Anybody knows?
¿Alguien sabe?
Okay, it's 4.2 light years.
4,2 años luz.
So what does it mean? It means that if I would travel
Eso quiere decir que si voy a viajar
at the speed of light,
a la velocidad de la luz,
which is 300,000 kilometers per hour,
que son 300.000 kilómetros por hora,
we'll go out of there, so turn around. if we travel at 300,000 kilometers per hour,
Si vamos a 300.000 kilómetros la hora,
it's going to take 4.2 years before we get to Alpha
va a
Centaurus.
tardar 4,2 años en llegar a Alfa Centauro.
But since we cannot travel at the speed of light,
Pero como no podemos viajar a
and we
la
take
velocidad de la luz
and we can take only one of our spacecraft today,
y podemos solo llevar una de las naves espaciales que tenemos hoy en día,
which would they go much slower,
que va mucho más lento,
it's going to take more or less 30,000 years before we get to Alpha Centaurus.
va a tardar 30.000 años en llegar a Alfa Centauro.
And we are only halfway because we need to come back.
Y después tenemos que volver.
So, the bottom line is that there is a lot of things out there that we need to learn, that you
Así que hay muchas cosas que tenemos que aprender que ustedes,
as young people need to figure out.
como personas jóvenes, tienen que buscar y tienen que descubrir.
You need to invent a different system to travel.
Ustedes tienen que inventar un nuevo método para viajar al espacio.
You need to think really hard and come up with new things. You know, when I grew up, there were not cell phones. There was not these things. Now it's common. Somebody had invented. So you need to really work on this stuff.
Van a tener que ser muy creativos, muy innovadores. Que cuando yo era joven no había móviles, pero ahora sí que hay muchos, así que es posible.
So, I will just leave you with this message here.
Así que les voy a dejar con este mensaje.
The future is ours.
El futuro es nuestro.
And we just need to dare to dream and realize these dreams.
Solo hace falta atreverse a soñar y realizar sus sueños.
¡Bravo! ¡Bravo! Muchas gracias. A ver, por favor. Gracias. Sí. No queríamos que Paolo Nespoli viniera aquí a la Universidad de Las Palmas a hablar con todos ustedes, que respondiera a las preguntas y que se vaya con la misma, así que...
Tenemos un regalo que queremos darle de parte de todos a Pablo y por ahí lo trae Laura. Un aplauso.
Es un cuchillo canario. Esto es un...
They are going to arrest me on the plane.
You shouldn't use it on the plane.
But thank you. Thank you very much.
And you have something written on the flag. Maybe the language is familiar.
Wait a second. Can I have a kiss? Fringe benefits. Thank you. So, we are going to do a raffle, right?
Yes.
Right. Yes, I'm going to get the tickets.
Vamos a sortear porque, claro, ustedes tienen un numerito.
5 lucky candidates will receive a poster.
Silencio, por favor,
You
que
have
terminamos
a little
rapidito.
piece of paper with a number, right?
Silencio, por favor. Do you have an innocent hand?
Me. Okay, you have your number.
Cuando
Are you
diga
ready?
el número, venga por aquí rápido, ¿vale?
Are you ready?
A ver.
I'm not going to look.
¿Todos listos? A ver si va a caer esto.
Okay, guy. I want the number, area code, telephone area code for Italy. What is it? What is the telephone area code for Italy? If you want to call Italy, what number do you dial?
39.
What? 39. 39. Who has 39? Come on, 39.
39.
Woo!
Now here.
Applause.
So, you...
All right, get ready. Get ready. Wow. I don't know this one. Okay, number 348.
348. Where? Oh.
All right, where are the guys? Guys, the girls are beating you. Still on the 300 series. 302.
302.
Woo,
Yeah.
another girl. All right. Okay, guys, we are 3-0. Let's do something here. Two, 6, 9. All right.
Vamos, vamos. And the last one.
And the
Y el
last
último.
one.
Uy.
Square root of. What? All right. 192.
Yeah.
Where is it? Woohoo!
Thank you.
Álvaro, de acuerdo.
Okay.
So,
Very good. So each one of them will get their own personalized poster
and the hat.
with me flying in space. Very precious. Though I have given to each one of the schools, I have given a little posters that you can put in your school remembering this day. So you will look at it and remember this day today. You have, each one of the school have one of these. And when you will go out now, so you prepare yourself because you're going to dance now for the people here. You don't like to dance? No? Okay, you sing. You don't want to sing? You don't dance? Okay, you cut her hair. Okay, we will see.
Los coordinadores de
We'll
cada
find the
colegio.
skills. So each one of you will get a poster going out. When you will go out, we will give, you will receive one poster from the European Space Agency about all the, about things that we do in space, the satellites, Earth observation, things like this. So use this as your reminder for this activity. Do we need to do anything more official?
we can. No.
We are about to close. We can
Yes.
send them out.
Recuerden que cada uno tiene un póster y que cada colegio tiene un póster además firmado con una dedicatoria especial para cada colegio que les han entregado.
Que lo tienen nuestros coordinadores. Ahora se lo entregarán un póster dedicado para cada colegio.
Okay, and so this is, attention 1 second.
Atención.
Attention 1 second. This is the end of it. So soon you're going to go out and go back to your school. Today you have, this is class. I mean, this is as good as learning things in class. I mean, you learn something. I hope you bring something away. But I want to give you an appointment. Where is my translator?
There.
I want to give you an appointment, a date. I will have a date with Margaret and you.
Quiero darles una cita.
A date, a meeting with you. We'll set up a meeting.
Quiero que tengamos una cita.
So in 25 years from today,
25 años de hoy, desde a partir de hoy,
we will meet here again,
vamos a encontrarnos aquí todos,
all of you, me included,
yo también,
hopefully.
esperemos.
And this time I will be sitting there where you are now,
Y en esa ocasión voy a estar yo en el público.
and some of you will be here up on the podium,
Y algunos de ustedes estarán aquí arriba en el escenario.
and your task will be to show us, to show the people that are sitting there, me and all the other kids that will be there in the future, what you have done, what you have accomplished, maybe some pictures from Mars.
Y el encargo que tienen entonces es enseñarnos lo que han cumplido en estos tiempos, en estos 25 años, lo que han realizado. Quizás tendremos alguna foto de Marte.
Good. So you got it? Write it down on your diary.
Así apúntelo en la agenda.
Because I want to see you.
Porque voy a estar aquí.
See you.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Paolo Nespoli. Salimos en orden por las dos rampas que están a los laterales.
Y no se olviden que ahora a la salida todos pueden coger un póster de la Agencia Espacial Europea. A medida que salgan por las dos salidas, los compañeros lo van a ir dando. Gracias a todos.
Laura.
De una hora.